Okay, everyone, I'm going to let this video roll while I give you an update on the Yamaha Tenere 700, which I was trying to buy, I wanted to buy, I did this test ride. I said, put me on the list. I loved it. They said, you're good as golden. You're on that list. And I was like, last I checked I was like number 4 or 5. So I should have been called by now, but I haven't. I figured I'm on their naughty list ever since I bought that 2021 Beta 300RR Racing. So what happened there was I sold my gas. I went in. I was like, hey, I need a bike. Oh, we're not doing any more Circos. They're all sold out. We're not getting any more in. Oh, okay. But we're getting in some Beta 300RR Racing. Well, perfect. That's what I want. That will be awesome. That was my number 2 on the list besides the Circo. Okay, let's get that bike. Okay, you're as good as on the list. Okay, let me go see if this bike sells. Sold it to a rider I know, the gas that is. Sold it to Bill, and he gave me cash. I called up right away as soon as I got that cash and everything in hand. I said, I definitely 100% want that bike. Put me on, make sure I'm on that list. Randy, the sales guy, was like, you're 100% on that list. You're on that list. But, hey, could I get a deposit? When I was in there, though, they were like, oh, well, you don't have to give a deposit. We know who you are, blah, blah, blah. And, the song and dance. Oh, okay. Whatever you want. Well, over the phone, I gave him my credit card. Supposedly, he ran in, did a deposit, and it was going to be like $200 or $300. Seemed reasonable. It's refundable, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy it. If I say I'm gonna buy it, that's the person I am. This. Everyone there knows me. I've been working with you guys for a long time, but okay, this little distrust thing, never feels good, but okay, whatever. Run, do the card. I give him the card number, give him my address, name, the code on the back and everything. Figure it's done. They put me in. I'm on the list for the next one. I wait, and somebody asked me one day, well, when are you getting that beta? I was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, oh, I better call them up. So I call them up, and they look it up, and they go, well, you're not on the list. What are you talking about, Randy? You said you were putting me on the list. You were running my card. Well, we never ran your card, but you said I was on the list for the next one coming in. Oh, there must have been a mistake. We're not getting, you're in line now. We made a mistake. You're in line. I was like, what are you talking about? I have already, we're talking about like a month or two had gone by. And luckily I had the GPX bike, so I still had a bike to ride that I was reviewing. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? He goes, well, we never ran your credit card. Well, so I'm finding out that's the sales gimmick, right? If they don't run your credit card, you're not contractually obligated or get the product you had thought you were going to get. So dealerships won't run your credit card on purpose. I found this out with the Ford Bronco Sport too, but they honored it because, well, A, they knew YouTube, and they're not that dumb as Apex is. They know I do YouTube. I've debated whether to bring this out for a long time, but I am. And so they don't run your credit card. They're not contractually obligated to. It's real shady. So I bitched him out over that, and he's going back to Mike Stokes over there, the general manager, and I talked to Mike, and Mike gives me the same, sales tactic run around. Well, we didn't charge your card. Well, why'd I even give you my card number over the phone? Why'd I go through that hassle of giving you the number, the back 3 digits, my home address, name, and all that if you're not going to run it and charge me? That's kind of BS. You said you were going to charge me. And by the way, I have all these companies lined up for parts for this Beta 300R Racing. I've already gone foot pegs. I've gone a gas tank. I've gone bunch of stuff I ordered out of pocket. I have all this stuff to put on the bike to represent companies, because you know I do YouTube, and now you're screwing me out of getting the bike. What the hell is wrong with you people? And so he kind of doesn't know where I'm going to be on the list, and well, you're going to be like the next person if these other people don't get it or something. Or he didn't know how many people. I was like, how many people are ahead of me? Oh, I don't know that. I'll have to look that up. Can I call you back? And then, okay, fine. In the meantime, I call Moto Ventures, because I know the owner up there of Moto Ventures in Loveland, and I'm like, hey, look, Bruce, and there's a sales guy there, Randy, so we'll say Randy too. I talked to Randy too. He put together a deal. Hey, we happen to have one more 2021 300 beta 300RR racing coming in. I told him the story down here. He's like, that's not no good, And so we work a deal. We even haggle a price, which tight market, so not the best price, but not the worst price. And I'll get parts and this and that. And I'm like, you know what? I'll buy it from you. Here's my credit card number. Do whatever you need to do. Charge the whole thing or not. He goes, no. We'll just do a deposit and we're going to hold that bike for you. And I had, worked with them with the Beta 125 and stuff. And then plus I know Bruce and hey, all's good. But I thought I knew Mike Stokes and Lance there at Apex Sports and a bunch of the people there. I thought I knew these people. And, they pull one over on me. So what happens is I hang up the phone and Mike happens to call me back right then and goes, hey, you know what? You know what we'll do? We'll let you cut the line, get the next bike that comes in if you put $500 down. I'm like thinking, why does that matter to cut the line that I give $500? And remember, I haven't even haggled a price here or anything, so I'm thinking in my mind real quick, like, oh, they're going to screw me and stuff. I'm like, hey, Mike, I don't really like the idea that you're going to have me cut the line. And, so that's where it pretty much ended up. I just pretty much, oh, okay, you don't want it then. I was like, no, I don't want it. Why am I cutting the line? It makes no sense. I don't want to do that to another rider. So if I gave $500, I was buying my place to cut the line, which I bet they would have then wanted way over MSRP because of the availability of bikes, whereas Moto Ventures, they were still willing to deal with me because I had bought with them before and because I have a relationship somewhat with them and they know this story. You know what? I send everyone I meet now to Moto Adventures in Loveland. Screw Apex Sports. I don't even care if this. So you want to know what happened with the Tenere 700? I haven't heard anything since that day. So I'm guessing they scratched me off the list or they put me on the list of, hey, when the market isn't as hot and we have 10 of these sitting there, which eventually we're going to go back to that type of market, and when they have 10 of them, then they're going to call me and say, hey, are you still interested in the Tenere 700? I'm going to be like, I'm not interested in buying any motorcycles from you. I'm not even interested in buying any products from you. It's pretty sad. I cannot believe a dealership did that. I tell this story to a lot of people. A lot of people I meet on the trail. So if Apex Sports is watching this, you screwed the wrong person because I finally decided I'll make this video. I'm not going to buy another goddamn bike from you guys. You want me to pay money to bump another rider off the list so I could get one so you can make me happy because I do YouTube and I have all these products and company connections? Well, you know what? I don't really care, Mike. I don't really, you know what? I don't really blame the sales guy other than he should have followed up and been like, hey, there's an error here or something. It was all total BS. What probably happened is they said, well, we probably can get more money from somebody else. And when I showed, I really needed this bike, they were willing to bump me, and I bet they were going to charge me an arm, a leg, and a testicle, or probably both, because they knew I needed the bike for these parts. Otherwise, I got to explain to the companies, and that's a pain in the butt to do. Or the stuff I bought, I probably wouldn't be able to return. It's been too long. I would have been screwed. So, luckily, Moto Adventures came through, went up there, did all the paperwork, was in and out. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I like dealing with them. I will drive up there if I have to. You know, I'm not a big fan of Apex's service department, anyways. And, I can deal with beta directly if I need to. I know people. That's the great thing about being me. I mean, that kind of sounds egotistical, but I know a lot of people in the industry. I don't know. Apex Sports, that was a low one to do. And I have had people be like, oh, I've bought my bikes at Apex Sports. And I tell them the story, and they're like, oh, really? Yeah. You know, yeah, well, typical sales guys, they're good to buy from when you're buying, but afterwards, they don't give a shit about you. The general manager doesn't give a shit about you. So that's my story about Apex Sports. I don't know if they want to reach out and clarify stuff, but that's 100% what they said. That and I tried to entrap them on the phone because I was recording the call, they wouldn't bite. They wouldn't clearly be like, yes. They were just like, oh, well, sorry. Sorry, that's how you feel. It was like really, they wouldn't give me like, this is what we're doing. I was like, why am I giving you $500? And yet now I can magically be number one on the list. And they just wouldn't, probably knew I was probably recording. So that's another reason why I didn't bring this. But I'm still hot about that. But I let everyone know that I meet on the trail. And that's the power of your word in doing videos and doing YouTube. Whether I do YouTube or not, that's still the power of the internet. So if you have a bad experience with the dealership, you know what? Go ahead. Make a video or post online. But better yet, make a video. Make sure your tags are good. Put it out there. And I don't care if this video gets views, doesn't get views. It's just my rant because I think people should be warned about this dealership. I mean, I have other incidences here too, but I just never talked about it because they always helped with nonprofit events, the Rocky Mountain Adventure Riders and stuff like that. So I just never felt like I should talk about it to jeopardize Rocky Mountain Adventure Riders. But I'm me. I can talk about it. I personally don't need to go back to them ever. Let's see, we have Cycle Plaza. Rocky Mountain Cycle Plaza. We have Jeff Slavin's. We got Cycle Gear in town. We got the Indian, Harley, BMW dealerships that have Triumph and stuff. And then I can go, up to our dealers. I got a vehicle. I can drive. Anyways, just thought I'd let you guys know about this. Have a good one.